Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real Estate with your hosts, Colin Schwartz and
Chris Palmer, though.
Chris. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm super stoked for this one. We had to actually just like 5 times try to stop ourselves from talking for the last 10 minutes before we got started. We said, hey, this is good content. This is good stuff for people to hear. So I'm ready to dive in.
All right. Today's guest is Alex Harrington, serial entrepreneur from Omaha, Nebraska. Welcome, Alex.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, let's dive right in. Tell us a little bit about your background and why we're sitting here together.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Grew up in a Midwestern town in Illinois, went to Iowa, and I figured out there where I was going to, how my career path was going to go. Had actually an amazing experience with the entrepreneurship program there, and decided from that point on I had to be my own boss, be a business owner. I did not know what type of company at that point. I knew I needed to, be at the helm of my own company, right? So, got a job after college working for my older brother, who's the founder of Pickleman's. Worked for 1 year under him, and I decided to buy my own franchise in Lincoln, Nebraska. And that's kind of how I jumped off the beginning of my, business ownership, entrepreneurship career.
Why Lincoln?
Great question. I trained the franchisees down there out of St. Louis, actually. They're from St. Louis. And it's a great market for restaurants and business in general, especially being close to the Nebraska campus, right? So for the record, Pickleman's is a sandwich shop brand. So
Delicious sandwiches, by the way.
Very good.
appreciate that. So I opened that. A few months in, I decided, I was 23 years old. I decided I would just offer them money to buy it from them. The enthusiasm that I brought to the table, I felt like was greater than theirs, right? So, one day I was up in Lincoln and I was like, I'll buy this place from you if you want.
At 23.
At 23.
That's baller. That's awesome.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
my dream actually was to own some restaurants or own a business in Colorado. I really like the outdoor active lifestyle, but we landed in Lincoln, Nebraska instead.
Well, then now you have 8 different landings now?
Yeah. Now from there, that was 12 years ago. Grew it to 8 different restaurants, 8 restaurants right now, all Pickleman's in the Nebraska market.
That's awesome.
How did you decide, or take me through the process of getting into a franchise? I've looked at a lot of franchises. I think that's one of the first things I started looking at, like a buybizsell.com. Started looking there,
Sure.
oh, I'm going to start this restaurant. I'm going to own a dry cleaner, et cetera. How do you go about evaluating it? I think it's probably beneficial that you work there so you could kind of see the inner workings. But what does that look like? What do you need to do to be successful at that? What's kind of the steps?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Do you mind just pulling the mic up just a little bit? Sorry.
I had a huge leg up being an employee for the corporate company, right? But evaluating a franchise, it's what kind of support are they going to provide? What kind of brand are they? But it comes down to you, actually. It's more on you and less on what brand it is or what company it is or what type of company it is, right? So I look at it as, are you ready to jump all in? Are you ready to go 100 hours a week, do whatever it takes 24/7? That's what I was ready for. I was already doing it just for somebody else. Even at fresh out of college, I was working sometimes 50 hours a week, sometimes 100. The first few months when I owned the restaurant down there, I worked open to close, which 8 a.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I still had to figure out how to be a bookkeeper. I didn't have a bookkeeper. So I had nothing. So it's like, I was my marketing guy. I was a sandwich maker. I worked every bar rush, selling sandwiches at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd get home and I still had to pay my bills and get back to work at 8 a.m. the next morning, right? So the biggest thing the best advice I can give to anybody wanting to be their own boss, whether it's own a franchise or not, owning a franchise isn't the easy way out. You still have to go all in and be all in for as long as it takes until you can actually have that, quote unquote freedom.
So you brought us something interesting, which I never thought of, but I think just hearing about the bookkeeper and just having to do your own books, when you when you start a franchise, you're there. You picture the person making the sandwich, cooking the bread, opening the shop, filling up the soda machines, whatever. But then you, as the business owner, had to figure out these other ancillary items to assist you so you could scale. So what was your first, I guess, outside hire, outside of the sandwich maker?
For sure. 3 to 4 weeks into me paying bills and not recording any transactions in QuickBooks or anything, because I didn't know how to use QuickBooks. I just paid bills when they came in, right? This was in 2011. I found a retired CPA who worked out of his house, and that's the guy who hired us part-time, basically 20 hours a week to do my books. I can get everything right. He was super valuable. He, as a retired guy, he wasn't really doing it for the money. He was doing it to stay busy and, provide value to the community, right? So, his name was Jay. Yeah, he provided unbelievable value. And, it just, from there to, I never hired a marketing person, actually. I'm always been my own marketer, but, he was definitely the relief that I needed immediately.
How long did he stay on?
He was on for a few years before I ended up having to, hire someone full time and move on to something bigger. But
yeah, the first thing I had to give up was the bookkeeping. Chris knows me well enough, but I think I got behind on property financials by 3 or 4 months. So once again, I was paying bills. I was out there writing checks and I kept them all in files. And it's like, oh wait, it's tax time and there's going to be financial reporting needed. Oh, my partners want to know this. Wait, what? That there's not some magic button? I thought we could just look in the bank account and reconcile there. Guys, it's good. We still have cash in the bank.
Hence why I was doing 1099s this week.
Yeah, good job, Chris. But since then we've moved on. So my first hire was somebody just like the job was like open mail, write checks, and record it. Just save me that so I can be better at what I should be doing, which is getting real estate.
I think I was doing Google Sheets. Like we didn't know what we were doing either. Yeah. I tried learning QuickBooks, and to be honest, to this day, I've never really had to deal with it because I learned pretty quickly. I was like, there's too much going on.
I can barely log in.
Yeah.
I have to go and get shown by my bookkeeper now, right? The other thing I had to, you have to have the courage to be the guy that can go all in on whatever the task is. Bookkeeping is a hard one, but operations or running the company in general, for me, I worked 100 hours a week a lot of times because I was willing to set the expectation, obviously develop your people, set the expectation, and then, be willing to hold that expectation no matter what.
Don't you think that makes you a better entrepreneur going through every process of the business? It doesn't mean you're going to stick with that process forever. It certainly does not mean you're the best at it. But I remember when I started, I was writing my own purchase agreements. I was writing my own operating agreements. I do not recommend either of those to anybody listening. I was sourcing my own deals. I was my own HR. I was my own cold caller, every single piece of the business. But then I started peeling those back. But now I know if something is missing or something's going awry, I'm able to step in there because I have that intuitive knowledge because I've been there and I've done that. I didn't just immediately say, oh, how do I make my life easier so I can work 40 hours a week?
Yeah, no doubt. That's the last thing on your mind at the beginning. You're not doing it, you don't get into it for that at the beginning, right? So it's like you have to work through the whole book, the whole process. That's what I was doing at the start, right? You just started creating systems. You run into something, you create a system for it, so the next time you don't have to work on it as much.
Yeah, that's smart.
So that's what I was doing, at 23 years old, because I had the high goals of owning a big company, starting and, building my own giant company, right? With lifestyle in mind. I wanted to have the lifestyle business, not necessarily real estate, but it's like, how can I get into something that's a lifestyle type company, where at 35 now, it's like, if I want to go home and have a snow day with the kids, I can.
Yeah, that hits home because yesterday was a snow day and I was unable to participate in the snow.
Did they? But you still could have. We still could have. We had a friend come in from out of town.
And there's always a
There's always a good reason.
Yesterday was a little unique. Seems. the entrepreneurial class or this program, wherever you're at in Iowa, talk about that, because that's shows how much I know. I didn't even know those really existed. Now I'm sure you can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I graduated from Iowa in 2010 with a political science major, but halfway through my college career, I found out in the business school they had this entrepreneurship program. Quite frankly, college and school in general just didn't really hit home with me. It wasn't a focus. It wasn't something that I was super interested in.
You were also in Iowa City, which it's hard to focus there.
It for sure is, right? So it's like, it's a great town. I'd highly recommend, that school and that town in general. But, so I found out about this entrepreneurship program. I signed up for the first class. The teachers aren't real professors. They're business people. So all my professors in this program, they were business people. They showed up in a Porsche or in a pickup truck, or they owned a company and sold it, and now they're just doing this part-time or whatever. And those are the guys I started resonating with, right? So it's like,
it's awesome.
I'm like, shit, this is who I need to be with. Like, I need to hang out with this guy. This one particular guy I still talk to from, 12 years ago. One day I'd go talk to him after class, and I'd have a full afternoon of classes afterwards, right? It was noon, and he's like, hey, do you want to go grab some lunch and some beers at this one restaurant bar in Iowa City at lunchtime?
Perfect.
I had 3 or 4 classes afterwards. I was like, yep, let's go. Like, let's do it.
When the door opens, right?
The door was open. So I'm like, all right, I'll skip the rest. The afternoon is clear. Like, I'm ready. I'm open. And I've been talking to the guy ever since, so it's like, next on the list now is like going back to talk to his classes. I've been invited back there to go to the business school there to talk. And, that's coming up this spring.
Great.
Those are the people that, in general, no matter how far along or not far along you are in your journey, if you want to be an entrepreneur or business owner, or own real estate, you have to find those people that have done it. Then you just latch on, not in like a weird, like annoying way, but like provide value.
Yeah.
Yes.
Provide value with no expectation in return. Because like a lot of times you might provide value to some people, you can't expect them to give you anything back. They're busy. Like, everyone's busy. So it's like, that's the thing I've always kind of latched on to, is providing value to no matter who it is, whether it's like to a sports team or to an office building, like even just giving someone sandwiches that I like, okay, I'll give you sandwiches.
Yeah.
You never have to order from me. That's fine.
I mean, look, no one's going to complain about free Pickleman sandwiches.
Well, yeah, but
That's
no one's going to complain about it. But if you never ordered from me again, I'd be totally cool with that, right?
No,
So it's like,
because we're all super busy. So you're right. If you're going to take somebody's time, it's nice to know you're offering something, whether it's a sandwich or a knowledge or speaking at a class. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think oftentimes, because you probably get this, hey, can I pick your brain? You're awesome, Alex. Hey, how do I do this? Let me take you to coffee. And it's like, well, what's the objective of it? I want to learn how to be like you. Okay. Do you want to go to work for 100 hours a week?
Right.
And you start laying it out. Well, what's the secret? I think we get this question all the time. What's the secret of real estate? Like, how do you syndicate? How do you do this? I'm like, well, you read these 5 books, you get up earlier, you go to the gym, you get your mind right, you focus and you focus and you focus and you work and you do the boring tasks over and over and over again. And you don't make money in the beginning, and it's okay because you're building something. It's just like, building a house, you build a foundation, but if you covered it with dirt, you wouldn't even know the foundation's there. But you need the foundation, and that's taking a significant portion of the time. Everybody just looks at the sexy house that's built on top and what the successes are at the end.
That's my biggest complaint about like the law school compared to the doctor thing, is that like, looking back on it after practicing law, what was the point of law school? I still don't understand. It would have made way more sense to follow around an actual attorney and learn how to be an attorney. And that's where, like the doctorate, that's obviously the entrepreneurial portion got that right. But that's where like the med school, although I have my qualms with some of the med school things, they at least have residency and fellowship, and like you can learn how to be a doctor instead of just like, can you read a book and take a test? Okay, go defend somebody in court. Like what? Like that's not even the fair comparison.
Yeah, you're fresh out of law school. You're not ready.
No, boy, not at all.
Not even close.
It's not fair.
So yeah, I mean, no matter what it is, right? You have to study. You have to be all in. That's how I did it. So
where are you at now? Tell us about your business, what it looks like now. So 23, you started, you're 35, correct?
yeah, 35 now. I've got 8 stores now, all in the Omaha, Lincoln area. Fantastic revenue. I've gotten distracted along the way, quite frankly. I actually owned, with some partners, like 7 houses. So I did dabble in real estate a little bit. 8 restaurants. I have a lot upcoming, starting some new brands. But side note, like my real estate story, things like when you have to jump all in, right? So I was jumping all into buying single family homes. So I'd leave, I'd have my, Pickleman shirt on. I'd leave, I'd go look at a house to buy in the Midtown, Omaha area. And, if the value was there, I wouldn't even walk through the house, quite frankly. So like there's this one house I pulled up on. It just hit the market like the first day. I pulled up next to it. I looked at it. It's a great location in Midtown. And I called the broker on the sign and I bought it.
Do you remember the numbers, or is it still working? Did you still have
50 grand.
Do you remember the
bought
address?
the house for 50 grand?
Bought the house for 50 grand.
When was this?
1973.
No, 2014, 15-ish.
Yep.
Oh, perfect timing. Yeah.
So it's like I pulled up on it. Literally, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
Except I understood value.
Yeah.
So it's like great location, 50 grand. I'm like,
Yeah.
geez, like, okay. And then I talked to a guy the next day. It's a funny story, anonymous story, but I talked to this guy the next day and he had all these people lined up to go see it on Monday. That was a Friday. So I talked to this guy on a Saturday. He's like, oh, I got my engineers. I got my broker. I got all these people I'm going to go look at this tour of this house with. Have you heard about it? I'm like, I bought it yesterday.
Hell.
He's like, how'd you get in to see it? I'm like, I did.
Dude, that's
If I have to tear the house down tomorrow, it's still worth 50 grand or more.
Yeah.
that is so good. There are so many times people are like, how do you get so many deals, Colin and Chris? Well, we see a deal and we take action on it. I mean, we've built up, at least you had the value base, you know, but we educated ourselves. Like, people are like, well, I need to get my inspectors and I'm trying to time up with this and got to get my bank approval letter and this and this and this. Well, you should have done a little bit of homework beforehand.
Yeah.
You should already have that connection with the bank. And then you just need to trust it. I don't know if it's Kevin O'Leary or who says it. They say once you have like 60% of the information, you can say yes or no to something. The other 40% you're going to figure out along the way. And it's the people that they try to get to that perfection and they just keep pushing like, I need to know 95% of it because, oh no, what if a water heater goes out? Well, if you're worried about $1,000 repair on a piece of real estate, when you're missing the long-term value of it.
For sure.
And you don't want to make a habit out of this, but certainly in that scenario, typically in the real estate purchase realm, you have the due diligence period. So you got under contract, you didn't close in 24 hours, or I'm guessing you didn't.
No.
Okay, and obviously then you probably got a chance to walk through it. And if you finally walk through the front door and it's just a bunch of meth labs, you can just back out. Now, you don't want to make a habit out of that because...
Or you just tear it down.
Or you well, gosh, for that price and that location.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's smoking. Do you remember the address?
34th and Dewey.
Dude,
down the street.
my first property I bought was 3419 Dewey Avenue. So
Okay.
yeah,
South side of the road. Kind of looked like a barn.
Still own it?
No.
Okay.
was it like a white house with
Yep.
like a lot next to it? We were almost like catty corner from you.
Okay.
So yeah,
We walked past it yesterday.
yeah, we walked past it yesterday.
I had this one other deal. There's even worse house on Park Ave.
Dude, we were just walking there yesterday. I used to own like 5 buildings around there.
I bought this house for 17 grand.
Gosh. What year again?
This was 2015.
Gosh, dang.
This thing was about to fall apart. Like, I went to the 3rd level to look at it. I mean, it was risky.
Yeah.
Like, just getting to the 3rd level, right? Yeah, they wanted like 50 grand. I said no. They wanted 40 grand. I said no. They're like, name your price. I'm like, I'll take it for 17. I'll pay you cash tomorrow. They're like, all right, we'll do it. I waited a year and a half, sold it for 45.
Nice.
And I didn't. It was empty. The lot was empty the whole time. I actually had to tear the house down, and it just
Oh,
sounded.
did you really?
Yeah, tore the house down like 8 grand or something.
Is that
Did
right?
nothing to it.
I think I know where that is.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's across the street from where me and him met on Park Ave when I beat him on a property.
I don't like that story. I just I mean,
That's my dabble in real estate.
No, that's awesome. So where you so you've got 8 locations, and we were talking about this before. You have 400 employees.
Yeah, close to 400.
What does your company structure look like? Because we have about 30 employees or so across our businesses, and it's a lot on how you're having to build out. It becomes exponentially more complex but simple, and it's kind of a weird spot because, as you said, building systems, finding the right people. But what did that look like scaling, and how do you structure that?
Well, you figure it out along the way, right? So it's like I kind of just take it of what do I need first, and I would go down the line. I outsourced my bookkeeping for a long time to another company, and that got me to about 6 locations, which would have been about maybe 10 million a year in revenue or something like that. From there, I was the leader. I was the main guy, and I had 1 or 2 people above restaurant level that was working for me. So like my overhead's always been super low. All my people have been in operations. All my focus has been in operations in the actual business. I have 1 full-time and 1 part-time person that are above restaurant operations right now. So it's me and a person and a part-time person.
and they're kind of managing the different locations.
Nope, that'd be the bookkeeper, and then kind of like an assistant / HR / bookkeeper person as well. I have 2 area managers who oversee the 8 locations. Sometimes they're the GM if we lose a general manager, but the biggest thing with personnel is always, and I think this is true for any smaller company for sure. The bigger companies definitely have this is having bench strength. Having a full roster of like people that could step up into it. That's so the ownership or the higher level CEOs or the operations people, depending on how big your company is. So there's not fire alarms going off, literally or figuratively. It's not your problem.
So you're looking at the GM, and how does this person one day become an area manager?
For sure. Or you're looking at the shift managers. How can I develop? So my whole thing from when I was 23 years old until, now is how do I develop people? I have an interesting story. Like one of my area managers now, both of them have been with me for 6-7 years. One of them was 15 years old when she started. She's actually been with me for almost 9 years. She's running a company now. She never went to college, but she knows how to run a company.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
So it's like, and the other one, she was not in a great place when she was hired. She's a delivery driver, and I just brought her through the ranks, right? So it's like, I haven't hired anyone fancy. It hasn't been that. It's just been like, who's willing to work and learn? And, there's been turbulent times. There's been great times. That's day by day sometimes, but there's trust there. There's development. That's kind of how, that's how my whole focus has been. I'm development over profits, 100%.
That's basically kind of what David Crum said yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he's looking to hire, you're saying the same thing. So when you're looking to hire, you want to surround yourself with the people who are just going to be all in, grind, and not grind to not perform and or not have a good outcome, but they're going to grind through good and bad times, like you said, and eventually continue to better themselves.
For sure. Actually, one of my area managers a few weeks ago, she's considering moving out of state, which is obviously leaving the company, right? And very hesitant to do so. Doesn't know where to go, or doesn't know what would the new career path look like. And she made a comment that she had to do XYZ for me before she could go. And I was like, yeah, I just got to set it clear, like with her. And I did right there. I was like, to be frank, you owe me nothing.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't owe me anything. You're going to leave 1 month from now, 12 months from now, whenever it is. If you leave, like you've been all in, it's been great, but you're going to get replaced the next day.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's back to that bench strength stuff. I love that.
It's a bench strength, but you developed an individual.
I got to move on.
that they now also have skills that they can move on as well.
Multipliers.
That's a big thing. You mentioned challenges. It's just you that's the owner of these, correct?
Right.
How do you deal with challenges? Usually I like throw a shoe or something at Chris when I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
But you know, how do you deal with that? Who are you bouncing these ideas off of? Because I mean, we're not at the scale that you are, but we come across challenges all the time. Some of them are just, we have to sit down and think, but some of them are really, really complex challenges that have multiple different, endpoints and conclusions, and it becomes difficult to actually work through those. Especially, I mean, we did not come out with, anybody having a business around us. We're just figuring it out as we go, basically. So how are you dealing with those challenges as they come up?
It's been a process. At first it was bottle everything in, don't talk to anybody, don't tell anybody, just keep it in and figure it out and just push through, right? And now it's call people who've been there, and I don't necessarily ask them what I should do, but I ask them what did you do? So I'm more about whether I'm sharing some advice. Like, I'm not sharing advice of telling you what to do. I'm telling you my experience of what happened to me and how I did, how I learned from it and what I did, right? So it's like I call friends, maybe a mentor, and I, ask them to experience share usually. If it's super complex and like technical, again, I go to the experts.
Is your brother still with the company?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sure you have a chance to speak with him too.
For sure. Yeah. So I can, call him, if it's legal or slightly legal, I can call my attorney, who's done tons of mergers and acquisitions and,
Mergers and acquisitions.
yeah, he's done a ton of stuff. And I'm doing real estate.
I did hear that too.
It sounded like you said murders and acquisitions. Oh, that's
well, you could. Yeah. you need a guy for everything. So, no, but yeah, like realistically, it's like I need someone that like has been in the game. As you grow, and like every year is a new territory, right? It's like I had one restaurant that did $700,000, and I did everything. Now I have 8, and I do probably 15 million. So it's like it's a whole different ballgame. I don't have 15 employees anymore. So yeah, you really just have to lean on your own strengths and just be willing to make the sacrifices first, I guess.
Yeah. So I know it's been now a few years since COVID, but was that one of those big challenges? What was your thoughts? I feel like for anybody in the restaurant business, there were some that just did phenomenal during that period, that like really thrived. Like you guys seem to do well. Well, I mean, I'd like to hear your point, but Block 16, they did well. I know that it was like their busiest time because they pivoted. They pivoted really quickly because people still need to eat. So what was your strategies during COVID, or how'd you keep sane?
No, for sure. My first strategy was to go back to the basics and jump back in. I hadn't been making sandwiches that much, for sure. Like, I'd go months and months without touching a sandwich, right? Well, we had to lay off like 90 people. Revenue wasn't there, especially the first 3 months, right? Laid off 90 people. My wife's like, you're going to work from home now and like stay safe and all this stuff. I'm like, I can't do that.
My wife said the same
I'm like,
thing. It's the opposite.
I'm in. I'm literally at a sandwich shop every single day making sandwiches. For like one day I thought about doing like this Cornell, MBA program thing that you could get in like 6 weeks or 6 months or something. I was like, maybe I should do that. Like the next day I'm like, what am I doing? I got to go back to work. So quite frankly, I never worked from home. I jumped in with the team that was left, did pickup orders, did whatever it took, right? Like, you just have to do what it takes. And yeah, we had 3 months that were pretty rough. But it bounced back. I opened a new restaurant in Elkhorn, in August of 2020 with a drive-through. Obviously, customers resonated with that right out of the gate. It was our biggest restaurant. It was our biggest opening store ever, revenue-wise. So from that moment on, it's been great. I mean,
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah.
you just have to persevere.
Yeah, during COVID, I had that like that conversation with myself, and was like, okay, what's the Warren Buffett quote? Be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. And I was like, I'm just, the news is on, and everywhere you look, the world's freaking out. I'm like, and I was hoping for the same thing. My wife was hoping for the same thing. Of, all right, we just had our third child. Of like, okay, you're going to be able to go home and help. I was like, there are very few, and I hate to use the word opportunities, but this is an opportunity to persevere through or get our butt kicked and fold up and dive in our little hole with fear. And I mean, that was our biggest year. That was one of our biggest years. That really started our exponential trajectory. Yeah. I know we were start of the year like 300 units, and we ended over 1,000, like 1,200. We just went honestly crazy that year because everybody was scared, and we just decided
everybody was scared.
We're going to do this business. I think I had my team there as a small team, and we just worked even harder than ever. I was like, guys, people are losing jobs, this, but I'll tell you what, we provide the best service, the best product for what we have. There's always going to be a population out there, no matter how dire things are, that are going to want your product. And as soon as we get over this hump, we'll stand out. We'll be even better than the rest of the competition. So it sounds like you did the same thing. And yeah, just got to work more than I ever did.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I've opened 3 restaurants since COVID started, and I have 3 more coming. I found the best real estate deals by far in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're doing great. We have the revenue. We have the people. We're ready for whatever we can take on. Then you just kind of wait for the deals, and or you're looking for the deals, even better.
Yeah. So what's the future look like? You mentioned possibly some other brands. You able to talk about those?
Yeah, for sure. This new brand I'm starting is called Untamed Kitchen. It's like a healthy fast food, like a real healthy fast food concept. I've started it from scratch. I've decided to go all in on like the value and the actual principles of that. It's like no seed oils, the best products you can find, like best steak, best chicken, the best local ingredients you can find. And then for, composting, being sustainable, like checking every single box. No soda, no classic soda at least. So we're going to open 2 of those locations this year.
Where at?
One in downtown Omaha, 15th and Farnham, right next to the Mutual Omaha building, soon to be. And then one in Elkhorn.
Okay, awesome. I will be there.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So then, from there, the goal is to raise a bunch of money and open 100 of them.
Yep.
And then what do you do from there? Do you look at selling them out at some point?
You know where to find us.
Yeah.
It's wherever it goes, right? It's like, I might want to sell them after 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on like where I'm at. It's like the whole goal, right? Is like to be all in, but continue the lifestyle. I have 2 kids, wife at home. So I'm really about the lifestyle.
Talk about that too, because we were talking about that previously, and you were talking about the Wall Street Journal article.
Yeah, for sure. So the Wall Street Journal article that came out this week was about the real flex, right? Is being able to work out in the middle of the day. So when you go to the gym at 1:00 in the afternoon or whenever you're at in the middle of the day, you look around like those are actually the guys that you should be friends with.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking around like, all right, these are the people that are doing it. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something. And then those are the people I feel like that I would resonate with the most. That's the one. And then, being able to be flexible for your families. That's why I started it in the first place.
Yeah.
Started your own company. It's like, I don't have anyone telling me where I have to be, so.
Well, but I'm not saying it took 12 years, but certainly 12 weeks after starting your first one in 23, you weren't that flexible. And it takes time to get there, like you said.
In 2015, my first son was born on April 28th. We opened a restaurant 3 days later. Literally got home from the hospital. I'm like, okay,
I'm off
good
to work.
luck. See you later. Like, I am literally gone. It's like I missed a ton those first, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's what I had to do.
Yeah.
That's just the fact. Like when I got married in 2012, I was gone. Like when we opened every single restaurant at that point, I was working open to close 45, 50 days in a row. I wasn't home for dinner when we were first married. Like it just didn't happen. But now I have 2 kids and You know, I can be home for a snow day. I can play Legos, or I can take them sledding or go on vacations or whatever. That's not how it was. You know, this is the reward. But the key, and I fall back on this Jordan Peterson quote, you know, to sum it up, it's a pretty famous quote, but to sum it up is like basically the first 5 years of, you know, your child's life, then it's over. That's like prime time, right? So it's
I'm
like
depressed every time I hear that quote.
every time,
Every single time I see that little video,
it crushes me.
Yeah.
So I made like a reel on that one time, and like I go back and watch it like once a week, because like that's where it's at. That's what you're doing it for. You know, it's like work harder when they're in high school or something. You know, it's like that's what I think about.
yeah, no, and you put in that work, and a lot of people see the lifestyle, and they're like, how do I get that? They're looking at it that's the leading indicator. Money, success, that's all the leading indicator. Lagging indicator is the fact that you put in the work for that time.
Put in the work. You're living in the dirt. Like
Nothing is sexy about it. Not a
Nothing.
single thing is fun. Not the money you're making, not the hours, not the crap you're dealing with. There is nothing sexy about it.
for sure.
But it's what has to be done.
I,
sure.
I don't think anybody can. I mean, luckily for you, the program you're with in Iowa and stuff, you already could tell the school's kind of weird. I want to follow these guys around. I mean, the entrepreneurial path is certainly not for somebody who thinks they can just start day one and work 30, 40 hours a week.
Yeah, I mean, a couple other things, like I'm not a perfectionist. You know, that's why, like, you know, I can step back from something and develop the system, let the team run. Is it going to be 100% perfect? No. That's fine. Like, you know, whether you're doing apartments or whatever it is, you're not striving for perfection. You know,
Done is better than perfect.
You're just getting it done. Like, yeah, you want a great product. You can set the expectations really high. They miss the mark a little bit on, you know, something fantastic. It's still going to be pretty fantastic.
I mean, look, so if you wait for everything to be perfect before you move forward, especially in our world, if you wait for everything to be perfect to move forward, you're never going to be able to move forward. That's for sure. But I can tell you that when you started, were you starting with kind of your own capital? And the reason I'm asking that, you know, I don't get too personal, but for us, we can't wait for perfect. But sometimes things are a little different because it's like, look, we're about to go raise $7 million. We can't just tell those $7 million of people, hey, if we mess up, man, we'll just figure it out.
Yeah, it'll be good, guys.
So it's a little different. And I think your story is that you went all in on yourself and more than just your time, but also your finances.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started, I had some friends and family money, you know, asked my uncle, asked my dad, paid them all back. They had equity ownership and all that kind of stuff. Paid them all back early on. Now for Untamed Kitchen, I'm opening 2 restaurants all on my own. I've had 100 people, dozens and dozens of people ask for, like, oh, you know, can we invest now? Can we give you $100,000? Can we give you this? Can we give you that? I said no to everybody.
That's awesome.
As I'm sharing my brand, I'm sharing like this information of what I'm going to do, more so like manifesting it rather than like, I'm not asking for capital at the end. I'm just saying, here, this is what I'm going to do.
But what if we gave you $101,000
Today. Unmarked bills.
It would have to be $1 million.
Yeah.
Even for then, honestly, I wouldn't even take $1 million.
That's awesome.
Well, that's awesome. And you know what? I tried to say that there's a little bit difference, and sometimes there is, but actually it sounds a little closer than I was saying, because when you're starting those paths, that's what we did. We kind of went in on ourselves and we started small. Then we started with friends and family, just like you did. Started with friends and family, and you proved a concept, you proved your experience, and that was what allowed you to. So I guess it's kind of the same path.
It is, yeah.
For sure. I mean, you want to prove it out, right? It's like, look what I did. I'm going to open 2 new restaurants. I'm going to have the revenue. Hopefully, but I'm going to have the revenue, right? It's like, okay, now I'll raise money.
Yeah, and if you want in, you want in. If you don't want in, that's fine. You're going to miss out on the opportunity. I've already
I'm
proved
just going
it.
to go, I've already proven it. Now I'm going to go. And now I have the leverage.
Yep.
You know, if you start with, I need to go find an investor before I can buy a single family home.
That's tough.
It's tough.
Especially if you don't know what you're doing.
It's tough. I mean, it's a tough game, right? But it's like, if you're a hard enough worker, you know, and you've read enough books, you've gone all in on it, you have mentors, you check all the boxes, you can do whatever you want. You just have to go all in.
Back to working out in the middle of the day. First off, I'm going to start doing that now because I want to flex, but in more than one way. There's a double entendre there. But I actually want to ask you about, like, what are some of your, like, personal habits? What are some of the things you do outside of the business to better yourself or better your family or whatever?
Yeah, for me, it starts in the morning. I mean, first thing I do actually is drink athletic greens. It's like this greens powder.
You started, and I was like, you drink when you wake up?
Yeah.
I drink.
I had a scoop this morning.
I drink athletic greens every day. Right now, I'm doing dry January. I don't drink alcohol a lot anyway. Very rare. It needs to be even more rare. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, dry January is a good way to start.
Yeah, you've been listening to Andrew Huberman, right?
Yeah, he's the best.
He's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, wake up, athletic greens. I try to walk outside, actually, take the dog outside.
Oh, this is straight up here, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I check the boxes like a lot. I splash cold water on my face at least.
Cold plunge?
I do have a cold plunge. I usually only do it in the summer though.
You have a cold plunge?
Yeah.
Is it the actual plunge, or is it like, did you make it?
It's an ice barrel.
Yeah,
I have it in my backyard, and I haven't used it this winter. I know some guys.
Yeah.
Some guys that do it in the winter when it's cold outside, like it's 25 degrees out. I can't. I'm not going. I mean, I have a hot tub out there too. I do sit in the hot tub a lot. Yeah. Then I look at my schedule and I try to keep my schedule as open as possible. So I'm more interested now in, being there for my team. So I make a couple quick phone calls just to check in. I like to, check off whatever boxes I need to check off, to move the company forward. And, like we were talking earlier, it's being out of the reactionary period of email. That's my biggest issue that I've been dealing with now is I don't need to check my email every 30 seconds and then respond right away. It's like, I'm literally the boss. I can respond whenever I want.
I feel like you and then the guy we talked to yesterday, I feel like this is purposely set up by calling like an intervention.
I just care about you, man.
I don't even know who you talked to yesterday, obviously. So it wasn't planned.
I know. I'm just messing.
It's just apparent, man.
Well, at first, I mean, all jokes aside, kudos to you for freaking setting that up. I mean, that's huge. That reminds me of, Hermosi said that. Like, I don't know if you heard him say
Okay, yeah.
But he literally says, I don't take meetings before 1 p.m. He's like, you're not gonna dictate my whole day. I mean, he says it a little more, cordial, but
For sure.
I get done what I need to get done without interruptions. And then if I need to do something in the afternoon, I will. And good for you, because like we've already said 100 times, you put the 100-hour work weeks in so you could get to that point.
For sure. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Last week, my wife, she doesn't work. She stays at home, takes care of the kids. And Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, my youngest is in school. He's in preschool Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So she's got the day open in theory, but she plays tennis and she hangs out with her friends. And we do a lot of nonprofit stuff as well. So I text her. I'm like, hey, you want to go to lunch today? I look at my calendar. It's open.
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
So I'm like, hey, you want to go get lunch? She's like, actually, I'm busy. I'm like,
Thanks, hon.
okay. So it's like she's busier than I am sometimes, So it's like I'll come home and I eat lunch at my house a lot, or, go for walks in the afternoons. Another one that I like to do. It's like, and I don't do it listening to podcasts. I know a lot of people like to listen to audiobooks or podcasts. I do those things. But when I go for a walk, I just go for a walk.
Good for you.
Yeah. Do you throw the rucksack on?
Yeah, rucksack or weighted vest.
Okay.
I want to go one level farther and be the guy that carries dumbbells to like kettlebells through the neighborhood. Swimmers carry it all around.
Yeah.
So what I'll do, so to make it actually doable, I'll throw in 40 pounds in the rucksack, but then I'll have a 20-pound plate. It's like one of those handheld ones.
For sure.
And I'll just flip it back and forth every like 2 minutes or so. That makes it a little more bearable. 2 hands, I've tried that before, and there's a point where you're halfway through the walk and you're like,
You're not going to make it.
You're like, I don't know what I'm going to do here.
Yeah, but actually, physiologically, I think it's better for you to only have it on one side, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a doctor, so.
Yeah. I mean, if you keep your core tight and
Yeah.
you check all the boxes. No, I mean, most of the time, honestly, I just go for a walk.
Good.
Like literally, like dogs are barking. You can hear the birds. It's all the cliche stuff, but it's unbelievably like opening.
Are you on your phone the whole time?
So what's great is I've been doing the sauna for a while. I've got an infrared sauna at home. I'll do the Peloton in the morning. And before I'd like listen to books, listen to podcasts, or I even have a TV out there. I'm maybe like watching something in the sauna. And recently all I do is either I have a breathing exercise on or I'm just doing breathing exercises in there. And I just notice, like, I don't notice it anything in the morning, anything during the day until at night when I'm writing in my journal. And it's like my temperament, just the day was easier. Every single day that I do that and just like clear my head and allow it to just calm down, it's just so funny. There's no like big highs and lows. It's like, okay, this meditation, breathing, whatever you want to call it, calming the mind, going out for a walk and not getting these inputs in is super beneficial.
For sure. Or intervention stuff. Do you meditate?
I would like to say yes, but not regularly enough.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not going to fake it and say yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean,
I sit in the sauna a lot. You know, I do that at Lifetime though. I need to get one for my house probably.
Lifetime's got everything.
Yeah, I walk to Lifetime, so it's like,
Oh, really?
I live that close.
Okay.
You know, so some other things I do is like, beside the cold plunge, occasionally, you know, I like to, I guess it'd be time restricted feeding, intermittent fasting, but I don't eat until lunchtime. I eat breakfast, but I just eat my breakfast food because I love breakfast food.
Love it.
At lunchtime instead.
Oh, nice.
So it's like I'll have, you know, the eggs, you know, the ground like meat or whatever.
Cinnamon rolls.
Not a lot. Ideally, not a lot of cinnamon rolls. Not good. Not a lot of good.
Pancakes and waffles?
Not often.
All right. Yeah.
My kids do though.
That makes for good paleo and keto waffles.
Yeah.
You know, so same thing. I know Chris is more into the fasting. I'm more of stop eating at, 2 hours before bed and if usually around this time, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I'll have
It's
something.
time restricted.
Yeah, I guess.
I try to do that too. I mean, my kids like to eat at 4:30 or 5 at night, and I go to bed at 9 or 10. So it's like I eat dinner at 4:30, and I'm time restricted feeding. It's like, okay, I'm not going to eat until lunch next day. That's a long time.
That is a really long time.
It's great for longevity though,
I know.
according to the experts.
Dave Sinclair.
Autophagy.
Peter Attia.
Yeah, he's been talking about fasting forever. Sinclair came out. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure we all listen to the same people. What do you is there a certain diet you follow?
Um,
Low carb, paleo, healthy, organic, nothing?
just eating real. I mean, certainly I try to focus on organic food.
Yeah.
Just eating whole real foods, right? Like eating meat, eating potatoes, eating vegetables, fruit. You know, if it comes in a box, you probably shouldn't eat that much of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, so obviously we all listen to the same people, so you know that, but you're good at actually following that?
No. In theory, right? Like in theory,
80% of the time, maybe?
if that, yeah. I mean, maybe 80% of the time. I mean, sometimes it's 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It's like, then you fall off the wagon a little bit and you have to jump back on. And the key is how fast can you jump back on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't go days, go a day or two,
9 or 10, you go to bed, so you're an early riser?
Oh, yeah.
What time?
I like 5:30,
Good. Alarm, that's an alarm clock situation?
usually.
Yeah, okay.
Or a kid.
Yeah.
My daughter has a unicorn she got for Christmas, a stuffed unicorn, and its name is Lemonade. So Lemonade is often in the middle of the bed with us. So
Make sounds?
my daughter does when I kick Lemonade off the bed. She's really pissed about that. She's like, Lemonade, I need you.
Yeah, I actually love co-sleeping, like having kids in bed. I think it's, I don't know, maybe it's against the grain, but yeah, my kids are 7 and 4, right? So it's like, I know a lot of people complain, oh, it's terrible. I hate like having kids in the bed. Do I sleep as well? For sure not.
Do you like it every night?
Is it both kids?
Sometimes it's we wake up and both kids are there. I guess the point is, right, I'm going to miss it when they don't.
I know.
Hitting home. I was talking to Johnny about this.
It literally eats at me every day.
It won't happen.
I'm not going to sit on the floor and play Legos soon. I'm not going to play Duplos. It's like, I'm going to miss it.
There's this guy I follow. There's a couple guys for these reasons. And I love how you said you revisit your reel about the first 4 or 5 years. There's a couple people I follow on TikTok who it's like, Daily Dad or whatever. I follow, who's the Ryan Holiday.
Ryan Holiday.
So I get the Daily Dad. But another thing, there's this video of him where the daughter keeps coming to the room. She's like, hey, Dad, I want to do this. I want to do this. And he's like, oh, give me a second on the email or whatever. Give me a second. I'll be right there. And then it fast forwards 7 years. And he goes to the door of her room. And he's like, hey, you want to do this? You want to do that? And she's like, no, I got stuff going on. And every time I see it, I'm like,
I know.
Falling. I'm like, what am I doing?
I know. It's tough, man.
It's brutal.
It's terrible to watch.
That's why go home at 2:00?
Yeah.
Or I'll text my wife, like, I coach the basketball teams, right? Or like, I'll pick the kids up from school.
Yeah.
Or I'll drop them off. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be, my mind is telling me it's going to be terrible when I can't do that.
It will be tough.
I know there's a new phase in every part of parenthood and childhood. That's all a new journey. And there's great things about it at every stage, right? But
You'll miss it. We'll miss it.
yeah, like the hugs and kisses with little kids, like with your kids, like it doesn't get any better.
I know.
The pure curiosity from them, and just like they're just they just love you so much. They just want it unconditional. They want it all. Because yeah, my son's 7, so I have a 7, a 5, and a almost 3-year-old, and it's crazy. My 7-year-old he's grown so much. The conversations we're having, the conversations he's having. But yeah, I do everything to be at their practices. Anything that I can just like see and talk shop with him and just like contribute. Like I was basically the water boy of their flag football team, but I loved it, man. Send me to do whatever. I'll pick up snacks. I can hand out gummy bears, whatever you guys need. It's just that fun experience. You get to get closer to them and you get to get excited for it. Wrestling, standing there, being on the mat with them, just, helping them through those processes.
Well, what's not to be lost though is you don't get there unless you put the work in. I think that's
Don't get there.
So I had that.
You're all in.
I had that epiphany, and this is before I had quit my job, and it was like, man, because it's told this story multiple times, but this is when it all started coming clear after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and we were about to have our second child, and I looked at a gentleman across from me, and he had a countdown timer of 1,000 days, and he was about 62, and all he wanted to do was get rid of those next 1,000 days, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, my son will be 5 then, my daughter will be 3. Like, that's just depressing. I was like, I have to do something different. And 9 to 5, you're only working 40, 45 hours a week. But it's literally you're there and you have to be there.
You're checking a box.
There's no option. There's no true safety. Not to mention that, Social Security will be gone and all that. I mean, I have no faith in that. That'll be around at least for my generation.
Yeah, who's counting on that? Not people in their 30s.
But even if you could, it's not a lot to live on.
It's not a pretty life. No.
You can't live on it. So
inflation, you see people, all the older people now getting jobs and whatnot. It's
for sure. No, I mean, like the whole premise, right, is like you go all in on life, right? So like whatever it is, and then be thriving. Like I'm always trying to be thriving, right? So, and inspire everyone around me to thrive. Like live your best life. My employees, like, take your PTO and go somewhere kind of cool. Like, do something. So this other thing I got into like 3 years ago, it's a Jesse Itzler thing called Build Your Life Resume. Yep. So it's this giant calendar. Every single day is on it for the year.
Really?
Every day. It's just literally giant calendar.
Yeah.
So it's like 30 days in a row.
But you have yours filled out?
For the last 3 years.
Really?
So then you open it. So like, okay, what are you going to do this weekend? Okay, you can watch some football. You can sit on the couch and watch Bluey. You can do do nothing, basically. Creating no memories. Or you can go take your kids camping. Like, even if you don't like camping, go camping.
Yeah.
Like, go stay in a hotel. Go take them for a walk in a new forest. Go take them to the park. Like, whatever it is. Not even just the kids, right? It's like for yourself, too. So it's like, so I can look back on my year in 2020, 2021, 2022, and soon to be 2023. I say, okay, what did I actually do this year? I mean, some of it might be open a new restaurant or start a new company or, bought a new house or bought a building or whatever. Those things can be on there. But it's like, oh, I took my family to, Disney World, or we went to Kansas City for a weekend, or, we went camping. We went and watched whatever, took them to the rodeo or something.
Right.
Whatever it is, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
But you're actually getting out and you're doing something. Then you can like, Dad, what was it like in 2020? Well, let's go see what we did when you were, 4 and
that's cool.
6 or whatever. And so we can open this thing up. It's like, oh, wow, we went to Scottsdale and we went to Grand Canyon and we went to, what else did we do? Like, I don't know, went to the Black Hills or Badlands or whatever, It's like, I mean, that's so valuable for me. Like, that's where it's at. Like, you're building your whole life. Like
Did you always know you wanted to do that, or did you start feeling more of that as it became more of a family type thing, or
I've been doing that forever.
have you?
Yeah. So like I ran an ultra marathon in high school. I ran another one in college. I skipped my freshman year. I skipped like the fraternity's spring break to PCB or wherever, Daytona, and went to Vermont and did a snowshoe marathon. So I'd never been on snowshoes before.
I bet most of those guys aren't doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So like, yeah, I skipped them. I was the loser, right? Like I was
Dork.
I was the nerd. I was the guy out running in the middle of the night while they're partying.
Yeah.
Granted, I did a lot of that too, but it's like I balanced it.
Yeah.
I'll meet you guys there. I'll meet you at the bar at midnight. I'm going to go run, 7 miles or whatever. So I show up in Vermont, which is not an easy place to get to from Iowa City. I'm on this giant property. The owner of the property is Joe DeSena, the founder of Spartan Race.
Yeah.
He's on, he's big.
He carries around a kettlebell, doesn't he?
He's big time. He was really interesting guy back then too, right? So it's like you're on his property. It's this huge place. I get there. I didn't get in till like 3 o'clock in the morning. Sure enough, he's awake, doing something on his property, whatever, in a barn, like nice barn full of like nice stuff,
Yeah.
like really nice stuff. I was freshman college, right? So I'm like, dang, like that.
I want to be a baller like that. Have all the fun toys.
That's where it's at. I got stories about him, but all positive, all positive stuff, right? So it's like, that's like the inspirational stuff. So then the next day is the snowshoe marathon. I didn't have snowshoes. I'd never even put them on before. So I'm like
A marathon?
Yeah.
Okay.
26.2. So like I'm walking around like from guy to guy, racer to racer, whatever, asking them if they have extra snowshoes I could borrow. There's no snowshoe shop, there's no like place to go buy them.
You had no idea that
We're in
you
the middle-
need snowshoes?
No.
Okay. Fair enough.
You just thought it was running in snow.
Well, like he said, like, oh, I'm sure someone will have extras.
Oh, fair enough.
So I'm like, okay,
Cool.
you put on these big racing snowshoes and, you have to run up and down this mountain a dozen times or whatever. And it was
Is that your hardest?
35 degrees, raining. It wasn't snowing. It was raining, which was worse. It was like freezing rain the whole time. It was brutal. Yeah. So I was like, but we, got it done and,
That's pretty sweet.
flew back to Iowa City and went back to class and my fraternity brothers didn't even notice.
They forgot half their trip to Daytona.
Yeah.
They had no idea. So that's the whole thing, right? Whether it comes down to like consuming alcohol, not consuming alcohol. I went to a Creighton basketball game a couple weeks ago. I was the only guy not drinking. It was totally fine. No one cared. I had anxiety about it though. And I always do. I've done 75 hard before as well. It's like, oh, it's my first wedding that I have to go to. I'm going to be the only person not drinking. It was totally great.
Nobody cares.
It was awesome.
Nobody gives a shit.
You were
Nobody
saying,
cares.
you were saying something earlier about kids sleeping in beds against the grain. I think more and more people are realizing, look, you're going to lose that. And I can tell you not drinking is becoming so much more popular. Not only because it's almost like we all found out, which is crazy, that cigarettes are bad for you. So people and now people are starting to be like, this alcohol thing maybe not be the best.
Right. So again, like at dinner with the kids or, at home with the kids, I'd rather be open-minded, clear-minded, not 2 drinks in. Dad, can I have a sip of your drink? Yep, you can have some.
Yeah.
Because it's not alcohol.
Yeah.
That same TikTok I saw yesterday, he's like, here I am watching my kid. I'm just having a beer. And then I realized, I'm not engaging with my kid. I'm not playing with him on the ground.
Not doing anything.
No, I'm just sitting there drinking an IPA.
Yeah, so I drink Athletic Brewing Company beers. They're great.
Yeah, the NAs.
NAs, yeah.
Those are real. The first time I had those was in Colorado because they have a lot of breweries there, of course.
Yeah.
And it tasted like a real. Have you had like a Busch Light NA? It's not the best.
I haven't had that.
Oh, don't.
Not the Heineken NA. Heineken NA.
Heineken NA tastes like a Heineken.
Heineken is.
That's a really good one.
Make a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Athletic Brewing Company is awesome. That's the one I get behind. But
have you tried the new non-alcoholic seltzers? Like Hi-O is a new one. One of the founders, she's actually from Omaha.
Really?
I don't know. There's just different ones like that. They have like ashwagandha in them and stuff.
Nice.
Yes, we're trying. Gosh, this is so great. Whether you meant to or not, you're starting to change my life.
Yeah, so this is really good because in an hour and 15 minutes from now, I have a meeting with my life coach, and we're going over. He had me rank all 10 different areas of my life, from community to health to relationships with family, etc. So we're going to define my goals and go over them and kind of map it out. So you've just helped me provide a little bit more clarity for that meeting. So thank you.
For sure.
Yeah, that's really ironic.
I mean, just a side note, like having a life coach is important, right? Like, I'm a big believer in having a coach for everything. Like growing up with sports, you have a coach. Like you have a basketball coach, soccer coach. Whether it's business, you need to have a coach. Whether it's marriage, you need to have a coach.
Yeah.
You have to have a coach for physical training. Like you should have a coach. Like if you want to really go all in, you want to really grow a big company, you really get fit and healthy for the long term, and not just dabble for 3 months and then fall off the wagon. You got to go all in. You have to have someone that's got to help you hold you accountable. Like pay him money. Like
who's already been there too, so they can help you get there quicker.
For sure.
I mean, that's what I did for fitness. I mean, now you're doing it too. But I looked at myself. I'm like, gosh, I'm just not figuring it out. Like I used to be fit, but got older, got more stress, lack of sleep, and just the body started falling apart. I'm like, okay, so I spent a lot of money on a coach and a doctor to tell me exactly what to do, how to do it, and hold me accountable to those things. And guess what? I got amazing results.
Yeah, you don't regret a second working.
No, it's worth every penny. I can't believe it. Like is even like a thought that I wouldn't spend, X amount. I mean, it was $10,000+ for just getting it going, not including the nutrition, etc. But
it's only a waste of money if you don't do it.
Exactly. But you know what feels good? Having a freaking six-pack. That feels freaking great. I love that. That's a good feeling.
No doubt.
The wife likes it too, and I feel better, and I have more energy. So, but I know for a fact that I would still be kind of in the same rut, making really slow movements, probably slipping and doing those things, and not combining it with my life coach to actually get those results.
I think another benefit, though, is surrounding yourself with people who have the same likes and dislikes. And like this, just sitting here for an hour has been phenomenal. And like, it's motivating. And it's just, it would have been, looking back on it, we don't regret anything. I'm sure you had a great time in college. I had a great time in college. I don't regret anything, but it's like, I wonder where I'd be, or how much more quickly I could have gotten where I'm at now. If instead of just me and 17 guys who always wanted to black out, it was me and 17 guys, who wanted to go run up hills in the mountain in the snow. Like, I wonder where, like, it's about who you surround yourself with, for sure.
That's the great thing about entrepreneurship. It is, like that 1%. And typically it's just that those individuals that want more out of life, and they want more out of life everywhere. Like everybody's just like the money part. The money's like, you get the money to get a little bit of freedom. So you're not worried about things. Everything's taken care of at home. But then it really is those self-improvement. How do I be a better person, father, husband?
Well, it's community, right? Like,
yes,
everyone needs community. That's human nature. So it's like, you have to go find, if you're looking around the room at your buddies or wherever you're at, and it's like, this isn't it. You got to go find your own, like, you got to find a new community. And that's like the hardest part. Like, you have to be willing to tell people that, no.
That's hard.
Like, no, I'm going to go for a run instead. I luckily learned that in high school, you know? So it's like, it's still hard now. Like I've been, battling it for years. And I'm looking for a new community all the time. Like, okay, how can I get better? Who's doing it better? Can I provide value to them? Can I jump into their community without being a drain?
Yep.
It's like the last thing, you're never going to get included if you're the drain in the group, right? So it's like, the next thing I'm going to is this thing called HPLT, High Performance Lifestyle Training. It's a 3-day deal. It's like a retreat summit.
Who runs it?
A guy named Brian Mazza. He's on Instagram. He's a brand builder, right?
Yep.
So like it's about building the community, building the lifestyle, building the brand that you want, whether it's personal brand, because everyone has one, or your business's brand. So it's like, what brand, what community do you want to associate your brand with? Like, I want to associate with high performance people, whether it's people functioning at home, people functioning within an organization. If you don't own the company, you don't have to own the company to still have a high performance lifestyle.
Right.
You provide the value, you're in the right organization. The owners are going to recognize that. And if they don't, then get the heck out of there.
I mean, you're explaining basically the mastermind. I mean,
Yeah.
Whether it's a purposely, formally set up mastermind or whether it's just you going out of your way to surround yourself with people, you want to be around those individuals who are going to make your life better.
Yeah, no matter what industry. I mean, I just got back from a mastermind, and sitting next to me is Walter O'Brien, the world's man with the world's highest IQ, sitting with somebody that helped create Dr. Phil and the Kardashians, another guy who's a billionaire entrepreneur, real estate investor, and we're sitting in proximity talking about real things. There's no, oh, how are the Jags doing? Okay.
Nobody gives a shit.
Nobody gives a shit. Because you know what? And this is what I tell my son, and I think it's a little different for kids because it's allowing them to learn. Like, he's remembering the stats, and he's really obsessed with sports now. So it's almost a good thing. He doesn't spend too much time watching it. But I tell him, I'm like, do you want to be the person watching it, or do you want to be the person playing it? Because everybody, the only thing that you should care about is being the person playing it. That's where the true glory is. That's where the fun is.
Or the dedication to be able to play.
The dedication, yeah, on your own game.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's where it's at. That's the disconnect, right? It's like, someone will ask me, like, hey, you want to go watch the game tonight? I'm like, what?
What game?
What game are we talking about?
Seriously. Not
I don't know. No idea.
Crane basketball games, though. I will go to that. That's fun.
Yeah,
I'll bring my kids.
It's a social thing.
I bring the kids.
Yeah.
It's a social thing. It's a community. You know, it's the local thing, right? Yeah, with my kid, like, I'm the first grade basketball coach. I was like, all right, let's go practice some dribbling. Dad, I already know how to dribble. I'm like, okay. We got some mental.
You hear that? We good, huh?
We got to sharpen the iron. Like, we got to learn, like, what it means.
I have not given up football in my life, but I certainly don't plan my life around football. I think I watch, literally, if you don't count the Super Bowl, I think I watch maybe 1 or 2 games an entire season.
Yeah,
I mean, I still.
But you played arena football and collegiate, so there's a little bit difference. There's like a bigger connection.
Well, yeah, I wasn't even trying. Sure, but what I'm saying is, you don't have to give up sports completely or give up those things completely.
No doubt.
But if your life's based on it, and the only thing you can talk about when you're around everybody is a running back for the last 4 hours you've been sitting around, how are you getting any better?
There was a guy on the flight down to when I was going to Tampa, and for an hour and a half straight, all he talked about was football, and all I wanted to do was read my book or go to bed. And eventually I was just like, I'm sorry, man, I have to tune this out. And that's all he cared about. He knew every second, every stat, and that like was the high point of his life of somebody else's success.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, who knows who won the game last weekend? I mean, my favorite team's Iowa Hawkeyes football, right? College football. 2 bowls ago, last year, does it really matter?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if they're a winning team or not winning team. It's the coach's fault. It's not. It doesn't. Like, that's, for me, it's like, what matters is right in front of you. Like, what experiences are you creating for yourself? Sure, go to a game, great time, fun. Watch a game with your kids or with your buddies. Sure, it's great. It's not the end all.
I think what you've proven throughout this is that obviously your knowledge base, ice plunge, cold plunge, coaches, what's important in life, surround yourself. Obviously, that's the most important thing. But you're not going to be perfect, but to be aware of it.
For sure.
And to strive to be better.
I played Legos yesterday with my kids, and yeah, there was one email, and this is an excuse. There's one email that I'm waiting for that I need, right? So it's like from a contractor. It's a thing. It's about a project. Was it that important? Could it wait till after the kids go to bed? For sure. But here I am every 15 minutes or more, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, did I get the email yet? Did I get the email yet? Did I get the email yet?
Oh,
it doesn't matter. And I call myself, I'm like, so I got to put my phone out of reach.
Yeah.
And I do that at night now too, right? So it's like, I plug my phone in on the floor across the room. So I can't, if I wake up in the middle of the night, which happens a lot, or before bed, I can't fall asleep, I'll just look at Instagram for a while.
Yeah, that's a great idea. But we all do it.
I literally put it on the floor. I plug it in on the floor across the room.
That 5:30 alarm goes off and your wife's not pissed off that it's just going.
She doesn't wake up.
Oh, good for her. Good for her.
So what I heard what Ed Milet does. So when he gets home from work, Ed Milet's an awesome entrepreneur, baller. He leaves his phone in his car. And
wow.
he just leaves it in there. He's just like, now he goes back out there like an hour or two later. But that first hour or two when he's home, he's just like...
He's in.
Well, because otherwise, dude, it's impossible. I mean, especially when I get home, if for some reason, it's like the time when my phone starts exploding. It's like... I mean, I'm getting hundreds of text messages. when in actuality, they may be group text messages, they may be group emails, that'll figure itself out.
It'll take itself out.
And I can be down to the last 10%. All right, Alex, this has been awesome. We've got...
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we've got this just last segment. The final three with CNC. Chris. Get it, Chris and Colin. Chris, you want to start it off, buddy?
Yeah. So this will be with coaching then. If you would suggest, coach, mentor, entrepreneur, psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever, if you had to pick that one person to start with, because like you said, and we 100% agree, you need more than one mentor, coach, or whatever in your life.
For sure.
If you could pick the first one to start with, no matter what, it doesn't matter what kind of background or employer or employee you want to be, or who would it be? Who would it be? What area of life would that coach be? Yeah.
It would be a personal trainer, fitness.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay.
Nice.
Second question.
Think back. Why or no?
Yeah, if you want to, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I mean, I almost said life coach, but I think really you can't really thrive in life without health, without wellness, without getting yourself, at least being on the journey to health and wellness, right? So it's like you have to show up, whether it's going for a walk or going to the gym, lifting weights. Everything starts with health and wellness. I mean, it's like, don't even think about running a company without doing it, right? So it's like, start at the gym. If you don't own your own company yet, go to the gym. Be there at 5 o'clock in the morning if that's all your time allows. There's time in the day.
No shit. I have said that. Everybody asks, how do you do that? Get up early and go to the gym. It's going to clear your mind. You're going to conquer something initially in the day, because everything in business is hard. There's nothing that's easy. You go through that and you conquer it. You have that check mark. The rest of your day's easier.
Who said, like, you do the hardest thing first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get your butt out of bed, go to the gym, go for a walk, get in the cold plunge, do whatever it is, whatever, gets you going. Do that hard thing first. Sometimes it's just, the hard thing is just getting out of bed at 5:30.
Yeah.
Like, that's not easy. Like,
it's not.
Just get out of bed.
My intro to CrossFit was from a now friend, but a mentor and my boss at that time in the military, Adam Thompson. And when I was getting intro to CrossFit, I was like, what is this cultish thing? And it is a little bit, but it was more that he explained to me, once you get through these things, once you get through these classes and you're like, holy cow, I'm done. That was the worst thing I've ever done. But once you're done, you're like, I can do anything.
Yeah.
I can literally go conquer anything. That was the most difficult thing ever. And by the way, sometimes it's 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
But you're like, you know what? The fact that I did that, then I can probably wake up when my timer goes off, or I can make the decision not to look at my phone for 30 minutes. I just lived through what I feel to be the hardest thing I've done.
No doubt. Highly recommend CrossFit.
Yeah.
Love it.
I definitely attribute it to me becoming an entrepreneur. It just gave me that grit and mentality of just like, I just did something so hard. I've seen other people do real estate. I can mimic them. I can certainly, if they can do it, I can do it, because I just pushed myself through this. It's just great to clear your head of the stress.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, when you were starting this, so this is, people say, what would you change? I like to kind of rephrase it. What would you, on your entrepreneurial journey or just in life in the past 15 years, what would you have leaned in more to? What would you have done more of if you could go back?
Great question. I'd go bigger, faster. Especially at the beginning, even to a degree now, I talked about, I'm going to start my own brand. I'm going to start my own brand. I'm going to start my own brand. But I waited, and partially rightfully so, right? The money's got to be right. Like, it's the classic, like, everything's got to be perfect. But I talked about it, right? I wasn't necessarily walking my own walk. In a lot of ways I was, but it's like, in some ways I didn't actually do it. You just got to jump in faster. Got to go, like, start taking the steps now. Like, and this kind of goes along the same lines of, like, why are we waiting until New Year's resolutions?
Yeah.
You don't have to wait until January 1st to diet or work out or exercise. Well,
start now.
I can't drink because it's the holidays and everyone drinks during the holidays.
Drink something else.
Just start in Thanksgiving or what? Like, just start now. Like, if you're going to wait till then, or if you hear something like, oh, I'm going to wait till January 1st and then I'm going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not the guy.
Or they'll try it and they'll stop right away.
It won't work.
And it's
Because they'll miss a day. That's the thing that happens. People get discouraged by missing a day, and then it's all of a sudden they got to wait till next year. I missed it. That thing wasn't for me.
Another
My
goes
diet
by.
was messed up all last weekend,
Yeah.
so
It's
I'm
over.
going to McDonald's.
It's over.
Yeah.
it's the I'll start Monday strategy. It's
Yeah.
just always like, oh, I'll start eating right Monday. I'll start working out on Monday. Hey, look, there's never a perfect time to start, right?
For sure.
So this thing that we started on, it's basically like the Whole30, but on steroids. Not literally on steroids, but like it's 90 days of one of the most restrictive diets. It's extremely difficult.
Tailored to your body.
Tailored to your body. So it's not like here's a list of foods and all of us will stop doing it. It's give me your blood, give me your saliva, give me your urine. I mean, it's fecal matter. Like they say, you're sensitive. He couldn't have coffee and I can. I can't have beef and he can. It's just weird. I'm glad I can have coffee.
That's crazy.
But
I need both
started.
of those things.
I do too.
I know.
Beef's
I know.
tough actually. I started December 1st. And my whole family and all my friends are like, what are you doing? The holidays are coming up. We were going through some tough, I had a family member who was sick. Like, this is going to be such a hard time. Like, I don't know when else to do it. There's never going to be a perfect 90 days to do these things. So it's like, just jump in. We talk about it every day. It's like that analysis paralysis thing. When it comes to real estate, it's like, you can read a million books, but if you don't take the next step to actually meet the banker, if you don't take the next step and actually put the offer in, if you don't take the next step and meet the investor, that day will never come around. So
It'll
that's huge.
happen.
Yeah, you can't wait for that. The most successful people, I was listening to Bobby Castro. So he sold a tech company for $1 billion. He owns, like
Not bad.
yeah, he owns
okay.
like $1 billion in real estate, and he started I think he was a high school dropout. I think he made it through 9th grade, but guy's got energy, and he just says every day I try to get 2.5 days worth of productivity out of it. That's friends, family, love, work, etc. And he says he's just like, it's incredibly hard, but I want my life to look like I've lived 250 years. I want to experience all those things.
My just said my days are 6 hours long. You see that?
Yes.
I still don't understand that, but basically you're trying to get as much stuff as you can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's what I try to do in the mornings, right? It's like, how many directives can I push, and how many things can I push out, right? Then they'll all work the whole day, and my whole team will be working on these things, and I'm working like I okay, do this, do that, all these directives. Then their feedback comes back in like later that day, right? You can answer that day, or you could just wait till the next day. That's the hard part. But it's like, all right, I have 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm gonna go home now.
Yeah. That's a great plan. Another note taken on what I should change.
At least start it once a day. Try it one time, right?
That's what I was going to ask.
All right.
Which I usually don't do, but I feel
because-
like you've got some good ones.
It's asked in all of them, and that's actually kind of why I want to ask it, because
Yeah.
we have so many similar interests and whatnot. So in these final 3 questions, they do mix up often, and sometimes they come from how the conversation's gone. And what we try to shy away from sometimes is asking what your favorite book is, because if you listen to any podcast, that's usually one of the final questions. However, you've dropped so many nugget bombs, golden nuggets, and we have so many similar interests. I'm sincerely curious. I asked what one of the first things you do as far as a coach, what is one book you would suggest, whether that's going to make you better at business, make you better at life, make you better at whatever, what is one book you would suggest anybody starts with right now?
Books are interesting. I actually gift books a lot too, actually. I
That's
have
a
a
good
book
idea.
for you guys after this. But
Nice.
and one book to start with.
Probably the book you gifted us then, huh?
Well, no. I would say, Rich Dad, Poor Dad's a good one.
Which is cool to hear from somebody who's, obviously you do have real estate experience, but that's
yeah,
not your
not-
main thing.
Yeah, that's more like a value thing, though. Right?
Exactly,
So, like, I
exactly.
read that in college once, but it's hard to pick one. Losing My Virginity would have been a good one. Inspirational, Richard Branson.
I've never heard that answer.
It's good.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming, but that's the one I keep circled. I circled back to it twice just now. I read that, I think, in college or shortly after, and basically like the way he talks about starting a brand, starting a bunch of different companies, and the biggest thing that he does all the time and has forever is he always like hedged his bets. So it's like he covered his downside. There's actually no downside. Like he started an airplane company with he didn't own any airplanes. Or he started, whatever. And then the marketing from him is like is genius. So like, yeah, is it like world renowned, nonfiction? Probably not. But is it like inspirational? Yep. Can you learn a ton from it? For sure.
I mean, he's someone to follow if you want to be.
If you want to own an island,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the dude did it. Like he bought an island. He didn't even have money to buy an island. He had no money.
And now he rents that thing out. It's crazy how
It's
expensive that is.
crazy. So it's like the way he leveraged value and gained attention. And gaining attention, right? It's like, how can you gain attention? He tried to start a Virgin Cola brand, failed, but he drove a tank through Times Square.
It's awesome.
He flew, hot air balloons around the world, literally all the way around the world, to gain attention for whatever brand he was trying to start. So that's the one I can, it's just kind of a classic, 10-year-old classic probably.
And I don't know if he got rid of alcohol, but there's a part in the story where he went out partying with some buddies and had such a bad hangover, he basically called off alcohol. I don't know if it was forever, but for a very extended period of time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, for sure.
That first time we had a chance to sit down, we had coffee. I could have sworn, he hadn't even started the podcast yet. I was like, oh, I think I could have sworn I brought this up to you, having you in, but I could tell that day I felt like I was like, oh, I had to rush out that day, but I was like, I could keep talking for the next 5 hours. So I'm glad we got a chance to get you in here. And
this is great.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much.
Do you want anybody to reach out to you? And if so, how can people find you?
Yeah, sure. My Instagram handle would be Alex R. Harrington, or Alex Harrington in LinkedIn would be great.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.